Hi, my name is Amy, and my social media is Movement and Massage with Amy. I am a massage therapist, and I am a yoga instructor, and I often teach people how to teach. In my day job massaging, I give a lot of homework to my clients, and this video is a compilation of 4 that I find really important. There are many other cases for really important things that you should do every day, but these are your daily 4 for right now, and if you do incorporate these into your routine, into your life, you should be feeling better. The first one is a low runner's lunge. So we do start literally low on the floor. Have a hand towel just to support one of your knees. You hear the word hip flexor kind of all over the place, and it does, of course, flex the hip. There are 2 of them. Psoas is the one that we will be focusing on. Silent P, psoas. It is a trunk to thigh type of muscle, so it's very big. Goes from about belly button level. There's one on the left and one on the right, and sort of passes over your pelvis and through to your thigh bone. So it kind of spears its way through your torso from spine forward through your belly and onto your thighs. So if your massage therapist is working on your belly, they're trying to find and get at your psoas, and it's not strange, it's a great idea. So the action of the muscle is to bring your torso towards your thighs, so sort of to shrink this space, brings torso to thighs, but then also brings thighs to torso. So it does this action and this action. So it's super alive and awake in things like cycling, because you're bringing your leg to your body, but you're also kind of bringing your body to your leg. It's very lively in sitting. So you can find yourself in it's this dysfunctional space where the muscle is firing in not so healthy of a way, which will usually look a little bit like your butt sticking out when you're standing. So this space, this glorious space between your trunk and your thighs, gets chronically reduced, and that you will shrink a little bit. You'll lose some of your body's height. So things like your lunge separate this space. So here's the shrinking of the space, and then the separation happens within the lunge. So without further ado, we will lunge. Let's place the support, the towel likely just under your left knee. Anything will work. Step your right foot forward. And in this moment, just in this shape, I feel my psoas already. If you have anything going on in the front of the hip crease, you are having an experience of lengthening your psoas, your hip flexor. So right now, my affected leg is pretty much upright. It's neutral. It's not really flexed. It's not really extended. We'll change that in a moment. But it is so much more open than it would be in a seated position. So really think about that as the purpose of a lunge. It's I always call it an anti-sitting position. Your left leg, my left leg, is in that anti-sitting shape. In the absence of squeezing anything, you'll probably just feel some space there, some length in the belly and in the hip. But I do want you to really squeeze, contract, locate that left butt cheek. So just try to figure that out. Squeeze it, and you will most likely get a change in the front of the hip right away. I'm perfectly fine with the idea of tucking tailbone, so maybe even think of that. Your tail getting a little bit more underneath you, so you're more organized at the pelvis level. And stay and feel. And then to look a little more like you're in extension, in thigh bone extension, and to feel things probably a little bit more, you'll just fall forward, so your pelvis falls into the room while your knee stays stuck to that towel. Your thigh is now most definitely in an extended shape, and you're allowed to have this more messy, more fallen forward lunge, but sort of your check-in. Your checking of yourself is to keep squeezing that left butt, or re-squeeze it. Make sure that it's on and strong. Don't be shy to tuck the tail to exaggerate a little bit. Same experience on the other side, so you can back yourself up and out. Come into a kneeling shape. I'll flip my position so that you can just see this, obviously. The right knee will be held by the towel, left foot forward, and just start in that obvious 90-degree shape. Front foot under knee, back knee under hip. So you're just squared off, but you're livening up, you're squeezing and contracting the right butt cheek in particular. All kinds of detailed things I could tell you about the front leg, but what I really want is the back butt to squeeze, and again, possibly to even promote the idea of tucking. It's really, really beautiful and meaningful if you could think of the pelvis as many parts of the body, but most definitely the pelvis is a bit of a conveyor belt. So when your right butt cheek, your back butt cheek goes down, almost imagine that the energy of that rounded butt cheek could cut through your leg in the direction I'm showing. So butt cheek down, forward and through. And then the psoas rises in return. So the front skin of your hip goes up, while the back butt cheek goes down. So the whole energy would be up in the front, down in the back, but it's a continuum. It's a circle or an oval, a conveyor belt, butt down, front of the hip up. Picture that. And then redo it as you, like the other side, fall into the shape. You can fall into a place where that back leg, that femur, is in more of an extension. So it's trying to pull that psoas muscle taut over the front of the pelvis. But then go back to the feeling of conveying that oval. Your butt going down, your belly rising up. Your butt going down, your belly rising up. Da, da, da. And that's your low runner's lunge. So you can hold that for about the time that I spoke to you in our mini little workshop here. And then moving up from there, I will teach you about your side butt, your glute med, and how that balances out to your body just as nicely as having a long psoas, which you just gave yourself on the low lunge. The next thing that you'll want to do is strengthen your glute med, your side butt. So in addition to often being sort of tipped over in that shortened psoas, crunching your back and spilling your belly and losing that glorious front body space that the lunge and the psoas length gave you. On top of that, often we find ourselves overusing our piriformis, which is a very deep butt muscle. So often we'll also kind of turn our feet out too much and shrink the end of our butt too much. So kind of that hyper tuck, butt doing too much centrally and squeezing the tailbone. So stretching won't really help that because you need to locate the sides of your hips and make them work to balance the pelvis out. So you have more of a wide pelvis than sort of a shrunk and stressed pelvis. So to find that, your glute med, you need to strengthen that. So with your hands on your hips, usually your thumbs are pretty much holding onto the space of your glute med, one part of that muscle. So if you find yourself, try it freestanding, and then eventually you might use the help of a wall or something. But you will just bring one leg out to the side. So the action is called abduction, to move that thigh away from center. And the muscle, the glute med, is lifting the leg out to the side. If you point your big toe in, you'll feel even more of a cramp or a squeeze on the edge of the hip. No surprise if you are a little bit fatigued in the standing leg. So this supporting leg is proving us the strength or lack of in glute med of the standing leg in terms of just stability action, where this is an action, a pure action. Return the foot back. So every muscle has multiple jobs or actions. Sometimes it's just holding you steady and powerful and strong. Other times it's physically moving a moving part. So perhaps you grab onto desk, countertop, wall, and try the other side. So minimal torso swaying. You want support in the leg that you're standing on, and you want crampy, ugly, squeezy in the edge of the hip that's lifted. So big toe in, leg that's lifted, I apologize. Your hips are side by side. And then come back down. So depending on how difficult this is, you may do the whole thing single-sided with one hand on a prop and just do a few side leg lifts to awaken that muscle. My preference, what I teach and what I do myself, is more of a tightrope walk. So should this be too difficult, to keep yourself with the support of a wall and just do repetitions of exploring the side of the hip. If it's no big deal and you feel like you're not falling over too much, just tightrope walk. So kick the leg out, getting the abduction, and then you do get more complex. You're adding adduction, bringing the leg towards midline before kicking the other one out. Big toeing in. I just like moving through space and just feeling these muscles left and right do their thing. So you're practicing at a wall, or you're walking maybe towards and away from me. Up and down a hallway is perfect. Trying to get the side of the leg to fire up. So this is the obvious movement and action of your glute med, your side butt. But what we will do, hopefully you're following along and moving with me, what we will do is try to incorporate the stability power of this muscle now that we know where it is. You want to feel it definitely in standing, and then over time, maybe when you're cycling, when you're running, when you're doing all of those good things, when you're walking even. So you can just find stillness now, find a standing position, and just reiterate the heat that might residually be in the sides of the hips from that exercise. Commonly, you'll hear, you will be told to put weight into the pinky sides of your feet. Go ahead and try that out and see if you just get this sense of a widening of your butt, maybe. Feeling your stances widen your feet, your knees are a little bit bent. And without lifting those big toes, if you just edge into the sides of your feet, can you reawaken in a subtle, more of a graceful way, the hotness of the sides of the hips that you found with the tightrope walk? That's what I want. That's what I want you to find, so that your butt is not constantly collapsing in towards your tailbone. And you might even do that for contrast. Maybe you like over squeeze your butt and feel how it suffocates your tailbone. Go from that feeling, I'm doing it right now, go from that to kind of widening your butt and putting that weight into the sides of your feet and letting that become weight that is like a side butt, a saddlebag, weight that is obvious in the sides of your hips. Do that one more time. This is just a lesson of exaggeration. We use it often in teaching. So if you just squeeze your butt and kind of clamp your own tailbone, but then relax some of that and find yourself really edging into the sides of your feet, really acknowledging the side power of your hips. Do it one more time. Squeeze your butt, kind of feeling stressed in the body. That will really stress out your nervous system if your butt cheeks are constantly pressed tightly, too tightly against your tailbone. You'll be buzzing. And then relax some of that and find weight into the sides of your hips, the saddlebags, the side butt, the sides of the feet. So if you are able to tightrope walk or do this isolated abduction with the support of a wall or a prop, if you're able to find that side body heat and keep that residually with you, especially when you stand, and then over time when you move, it'll just prevent a lot of injury because it keeps things from getting messy. It keeps the knees from falling in or spinning the legs bones out too much, which you'll see really commonly if you watch people, if you watch yourself. So do a quick combination. I'll just turn my body to the side. In your plane standing, can you loop yourself through that conveyor belt of psoas or hip flexor going up, your butt, your big butt mostly going down, so get your conveyor belt going. Feelings of the belly rising, the butt, the large part of your butt descending, and then do what we call a refinement and just add the sides of the hips feeling strong, the glute medius, so weight in the pinky sides of the feet, liveliness in the sides of the hips, but still this ongoing conveyor belt of belly up, butt down, belly up, butt down, belly up, butt down, edging into the sides of the feet and the hips. Let that settle into your body. The last two, so you've got 1, 2 already, now we're moving on to 3, 4, are more about mobility. So having a long psoas and having a strong glute med will really help the balance feeling in your lower back. But if you're one of those people that complains a little or feels really dense in their middle back, then you have to twist. Twisting is something that we don't do very often. We reach for things out in front of us and move our whole body instead of getting that upper body twist. A common injury is lifting and twisting, because what often happens is your lower back tries to take on that twist because your middle back is so stuck and unwilling to move because you don't practice twisting. So if you practice twisting, then you're less at risk for concentrating all the effort into your lower back. So you're at this point as this exercise goes on, think of belly button up. So kind of from belly button to the chest, now being informed in the way that we move. So standing on your strong legs, I've widened my stance and you should too. Think about that long psoas. Think about those heavy saddlebags. The sides of your hips and the sides of your feet are strong. I don't expect perfect hips for this, but just think perfectly square. Think heavy legs, heavy feet. And then just reach one arm across the body. I'll reach my right arm. I'll let my head most definitely turn. So I'm looking through my front thumb. I'm spreading this right shoulder blade out. And then camera angle is a little tricky, but maybe you see my back hand, my left hand doing a bit of a counter reach. My hips pretty square. I call this the Tai Chi twist. I apologize to Tai Chi practitioners. I know that it's not an official name, but just moving this way, and go ahead and continue to move with me or watch me for a moment. Just looking through the thumb will truly give you some good movement of your shoulder blades over your rib cage. The arms are an exaggerator, and I like, just because it's pretty, to globe the hands together at middle. So here is our Tai Chi twist. You're doing it with me at this point. The back arm doing a counter reach. You're floating through center. It's very melodic. So your rib cage is kind of spinning around your spine. Maybe your rib cage feels like it's still lifting off of your hips with that long psoas, that long hip flexor quality. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Love this. This is a good one because you can do it anywhere. And then let's meet at center. So the arms really are a proper way to cheat the twist. They bring you into a bigger reach, just a greater twist through their leverage. If you were to leave the arms out, you can watch me or you can do with me. It's a little bit more of a true spinal movement. So the feet and the hips stay stationed, stay immovable. The psoas, that hip flexor kind of lifts up. And then you just see how much you're capable of moving the rib cage. So if you like this one better, if it's more interesting to you, maybe you start with 8 to 10 rotations and then begin to add the arms. So that is your twist. Your thoracic twist, if you will. Love it. Do it. And then your final movement is an anterior scalene stretch. So you're learning a little bit of anatomy today. This is another muscle that can be taught sort of taught based on our posture. So if your neck is like this when you're looking at someone or when you're looking at your screen, you're kind of lengthening the muscle that we're about to stretch, but you're lengthening it in a stressful way. Clinically, we call it long and locked. So your scalene is kind of long and locked in the front of your throat as you hold this position for long periods. So you want to have this awesome experience of doing the opposite. Just like with the lunge, your lunge pose, your first pose, is the opposite of sitting. The stretch that we will do next is the opposite of head forward carriage. So raise your right hand, excuse me. Tug your shirt down, so you want to feel some skin. Put your handprint below your left collarbone. So I just cross my body, right hand is under my left collarbone. I pull my flesh to the floor with my strong hand. And then that stays stuck, that stays stationed. I side bend to my right. That's nice. And then I chin up. Just giving a bit of relief and space to the front of my neck, throat area. So this kind of mocks what we did for the psoas, the front of the hip. Now you're getting the front of the neck. Trying to let the front of your body be more open. And with things like the tightrope walk, the sides of your body, the edges of your body, your glutes, your hamstrings, make them a little more strong. Tuck your chin, and then resurface the head. Just put it back on top of the body. Really take your time with this one. Release the hand. Left hand rises. And then you find your handprint below your right collarbone. So you're holding onto your pec major. You're pulling down. And your head side bends away from all this action. So it's just a straight neck bend at first. And then what we call a star gaze. The chin lifts up, exposing the front of the neck. If you're a tight jaw person, do not be surprised if this stretch refers into your ear, your jaw. So it's can be a good stress reliever for some. You can retuck your chin and put your head back on top of your body. All right. Thank you for joining me for the daily 4. So it's your low runner's lunge, your tightrope walk, your Tai Chi twist, and that final one was your anterior scalene stretch. You could call that your stargazing motion. So I hope that you engage in all 4 of those moves and that you have a better life. Thank you for joining me.